Welcome back to another J. Harris Academy of Police Training Roll Call. I'm Joey Sperlazza. If you give somebody their Miranda rights and they invoke their right to counsel, can you later ask them for consent to search? And according to a recent opinion, no. This is State of New Jersey versus Franck Amang. This is an appellate level published opinion decided on March 31st, 2025. Following the defendant's arrest, police administered Miranda warnings and the defendant invoked his right to an attorney. Police immediately ceased all questioning. Police went back to the defendant while he was still in custody and asked him to consent to a search of his home. As a result of that search, police seized an assault firearm and large-capacity ammunition magazines. A consent search is an investigative tool used by police, like a custodial interrogation. It is designed to bring into their possession evidence that can be used in court against the person giving consent. In this instance, the consent to search form presented to the defendant expressly warned that anything uncovered by the search can be used as evidence against me. For practical purposes, the consent request performs the same evidence-gathering function as an interrogation. When viewed through the lens of the heightened protections accorded to suspects in custody under the New Jersey Constitution and our common law, the court concluded that the approach most consistent with our jurisprudential values is to establish a simple rule that provides clear guidance to police. When a person in custody asks to speak with an attorney, police should not thereafter request the arrestee to consent to a search when there has been no break in custody. The detective should not have reapproached the defendant while he was still in custody to ask for consent. Doing so rendered the consent presumptively involuntary and therefore subject to suppression. The court ruled that the evidence found during the consent to search would have been found under the inevitable discovery rule and therefore was still admissible. In this case involving Franck Amang, they still admitted the evidence. It was brought in under inevitable discovery. However, they did give us that very clear guidance. If someone's in custody, they invoke the right to counsel, we cannot then seek consent. We have to give them the opportunity to speak with counsel regarding the consent to search and what the implications may be with that consent. There is no time frame that was put into this decision. Maryland versus Schatzer, we have a time frame when somebody invokes their right to counsel with respect to speaking with the police, and that's 14 days. However, I wouldn't recommend immediately rushing to release them and then going to them an hour later trying to seek that consent to search. If you have enough probable cause, apply for a warrant. If you're looking for guidance on a specific case, speak to your prosecutor's office. Try to get some clarification on how they want you to proceed with this. However, it does give us some very base rules for how we have to move forward. If you have any questions on this case, leave them below. If you have any other cases that you want to see us break down or any other topics, please leave those comments as well. Till next time, stay safe. Joey Sperlazza, signing off.
This podcast is brought to you by the J. Harris Academy of Police Training. J. Harris Academy of Police Training is based in New Jersey and provides law enforcement training services nationwide for promotional examinations, use of force, supervisory development, and other key areas within law enforcement. This podcast is utilized to discuss key topics occurring within the profession. The opinions and information provided is for entertainment purposes only. In an effort to provide this, we often purposely discuss opposite views and opinions to spark conversation and develop discussion points. The contents of the show and show notes are all copyrighted. All blog posts, podcasts, and show notes that are distributed to the public for free can be redistributed via hard copy or electronic copy for free only if the J. Harris Academy of Police Training is included as the acknowledged author within the actual media that is redistributed. This entire disclaimer also applies to any guests or contributors to the podcast or blog. Under no circumstances shall the J. Harris Academy of Police Training, any guests, contributors to the podcast or blog, or any employees, associates, or affiliates of the company be responsible for damages arising from the use of the information provided.